Algebra 1, Lesson 9, Order of Operations. The order of operations is a set of rules and conventions used to determine the order in which mathematical operations should be performed. This is crucial because the order of which you do these operations will affect how accurate your results are. A standard mnemonic we use for the order of operations is PEMDAS. PEMDAS is an acronym that stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. We need to apply each of these operations, from left to right, in that order, when it is necessary to do so. Let's do an easy example. Evaluate 5 divided by 5 plus 2 first. We start from the left and point out that we have a division problem that leads into an addition problem. Since the letter D for division comes before the letter A for addition in the PEMDAS mnemonic, we perform the division operation first, then perform the addition operation after that. So we compute that 5 divided by 5 equals 1, and then 1 plus 2 equals 3, so our final answer is 3. For this example, let's kick it up a notch. Evaluate 3 squared times 2 minus 6. First, we identify that 3 squared is inside a pair of parentheses. P comes first in PEMDAS, so we evaluate anything that is within the parentheses first. 3 squared is equal to 9. Next, we see a multiplication problem and a subtraction problem. Since M comes before S in PEMDAS, we multiply 9 by 2 and then subtract 6. So altogether we have 9 times 2 minus 6, which equals 12. In the last two examples, we had the operations laid out in order already, so even if you just went from left to right, you would have reached the right answer. But the purpose of PEMDAS is to help you evaluate expressions that are written in any random order. Let's work on this next example. Evaluate 5 plus 7 minus 2 cubed times 3. First, we look for anything that is surrounded by parentheses, since P is the first letter in PEMDAS. 7 minus 2 cubed is inside a pair of parentheses, so we evaluate that first. We now have a PEMDAS problem inside another PEMDAS problem, sort of like PEMDAS inception. No need to overcomplicate things, though we just stick to the same rules. E, which stands for exponents, come before S, which stands for subtraction. So we evaluate 2 cubed to be 8, and then subtract from 7 to get minus 1. Now we have minus 1 in the parentheses, and can move on with the rest of the original problem. Now we have our problem written as 5 plus minus 1 times 3. At this point, it is intuitive to just simplify 5 plus minus 1 to 4, and then multiply by 3, but that is not really going in the right order. To go in the right order, you start by using the multiplication operator first, then doing any addition and subtraction. So, we have 3 times minus 1 plus 5. 3 times minus 1 equals minus 3, and minus 3 plus 5 equals 2, which is our final answer. There is a somewhat hidden step that you need to know about when it comes to the order of operations. We say that it is hidden because in some cases it could be the first step, it could be done in the middle, or it could be a last step. That step is called using the distributive property. The distributive property allows us to simplify expressions by distributing an integer across a sum or difference of terms. This can help us to make complicated expressions simpler and easier to work with. For example, we have the expression 3 times 4 plus 5 written like this with the 4 plus 5 inside the parentheses and the 3 attached to the front. We can rewrite this expression by multiplying or distributing the 3 to the 4 and 5 inside the parenthesis and then evaluating the resulting terms. This is how we would work it out and get the final answer of 27. The distributive property will be an important tool to use once we get to more advanced algebra areas. When it comes to PEMDAS, it is important to know that it is easier to make distributing an integer the last step to take after you have used PEMDAS rules to evaluate all the expressions inside the parentheses to come up with a single number or term. Let's look at one more example. 6 times 10 divided by 2 minus 5 squared. First, we use our traditional PEMDAS rules to evaluate the expression inside the parentheses. In this case, we get minus 20. With only minus 20 in the parentheses, we simply multiply it by the 6 attached to the parentheses to get minus 120. Note, we could have rewrote minus 20 as minus 10 and applied the distributive property with the number 6 and arrived at the same answer. Using the distributive property in this way is how you will continue to use it in later mathematics courses. This concludes this lesson and Unit 1. It is important that you use any other practice materials available to you to make your understanding of these beginner algebra topics concrete. In the next unit, we will be moving on to solving different types of equations. See you there.